Alright guys, so let's get back into it. So I did release that video last week, kind of just going over what the player pool was looking like last week. Now we get back into it. There's some more information available. We're able to dial in a little bit more. We're going to give you guys that player pool in this video. As always, if you enjoyed this video, please give me a like and subscribe. I will appreciate that. We do have the NFL DFS membership available for $10 a month on the Patreon page. The link is in the description below. We're at 99 right now, trying to get to 100 before this week. So if one of you guys are interested in it, feel free to. We did cash in the Thursday night slate. It wasn't the best, but, you know, still cashing. Cash that, keep cashing. But let's get into the picks. We got the quarterbacks starting out here. All right, so starting off with the quarterback position, we're going to start off with quarterback Carson Wentz. He's just in such a prime spot going against the Washington Redskins. This is a defense that shouldn't be that good, and we know Carson Wentz, when he's in a game with a good matchup, he typically goes for 20 DK points. We saw that in all but 3 of his starts last year, so I really like Carson Wentz as a strong cash play. You can also play him in GPPs as well. I just find it difficult to know who is going to be the one that he's going to be throwing the touchdowns to, so I more like him as a cash play. Jameis Winston, once again, we already touched on this in the other video as well. I really think this is going to be a strong GPP play. People might not want to play him as much because of his price point. It does make a lot of sense to pay down and go with Jimmy G, but I think Winston might be slightly lower owned than some of the other quarterbacks. So because of that, I do like this as a play. You can stack him pretty easily with Evans, with OJ Howard if you want to do that. You can stack him with Chris Godwin. You can also stack him with Dare Ogunbowale. Now, in the other video, I already touched on Josh Allen, why I think he's going to be a really good play. And I like him even more now, actually, because he's not getting talked up that much at all. And, you know, I've tweeted this out a couple of times, too. I really don't know the difference in height between Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen. We saw Mitchell Trubisky struggle on Thursday Night Football against a good defense. Those 3 quarterbacks are all the same. They're mobile quarterbacks that get it done rushing. They're not the most accurate quarterbacks. But out of all those 3 quarterbacks, I think I might trust Josh Allen's arm the most. But let's not get carried away. But still, going against the Jets, who have given up the most points to a quarterback in the preseason, I do like that as a play. Then Jacoby Brissett, just like the price point, guys. I already touched on it. You know, they kind of seem like they have faith in him as well, so it should be a decent play for us this week. All right, now, so getting into the running backs for week 1. Obviously, if you can pay up for Saquon, you should do that. We also do have CMC there. A little bit tougher matchup, but I still think he's going to be a nice, safe cash play. Not sure how much upside he has completely, but, you know, if he gets 20 DK points, it's not going to surprise us. I do think Todd Gurley's ownership is going to slightly go up a little bit just because of that news from the head coach. They're saying that, you know, doesn't really matter how many, you know, touches he gets. They're not going to put him on a pitch count. So, you know, maybe that makes us think about playing him a little bit more. But I'm already kind of dialed into the running backs I want to go with. First one's going to be Chris Carson in a pretty nice matchup going against the Cincinnati Bengals, who were easily attackable via the run game last year. I think that's just going to continue to stay the same. It does seem like they actually got a little bit worse up front as well. So I think Chris Carson, who we know just once he got the workload and, you know, had the confidence of the coaches to give him that workload, the guy looked like a beast. He was a stud, just a dominant RB. He was a top 5 running back, you know, when he was getting that workload. So I do really like Chris Carson. He should be a nice safe floor with, you know, tons of upside as well. Austin Eckler is another play that I like at that price point. He should have a nice safe floor with his passing game work. You know, Justin Jackson shouldn't take too much work away from that. I do think, you know, Justin Jackson might get around, you know, 7 touches or carries, and then it's going to be the Austin Eckler show, especially in this matchup. I do like Austin Eckler quite a bit, especially in cash. Matt Breida, that price point, you know, a lot of people are just going from Tony Pollard, what was going to be the chalky play, now down to Matt Breida just because he was listed as the starter on that unofficial depth chart. But still, I really don't mind this play. The difference between Tevin Coleman and Matt Breida right now is just 1,000 DK points, so why not just take the one that's a little bit cheaper and just kind of take that risk. Now, that can only be a GPP play to me. The play that I like the most, and I think it's sneaky because I feel like it's going a little bit missed, is going to be Darius Geis there. So you kind of just keep seeing the news coming out that they really want to feature him. And I'm not going to lie, I question why that news is coming out. Like, why is Jay Gruden giving us this information that they're going to make Darius Geis a workhorse? That kind of is weird to me, especially leading up to week 1. They're even saying that Adrian Peterson might be a healthy scratch. Now, you know, all that is kind of weird to me that's coming out, But that is good news for Darius Geis, especially at this price point. He could easily 3x at that price point. Doesn't take too much to do that, especially if he falls in the end zone. Not going to be a horrible play, I don't think. I do like that price point. Another one, real quick, I will say I still do like Dare Ogunbowale at that price point. He was just named the special teams captain for them, so obviously they like him there. It does seem like he's going to be the third down back like we predicted, on our last video. So, that's also trending upward. If you have to, play a 3K player, tough to beat Dare Ogunbowale. All right, so, if you can pay up for a receiver this slate, don't do it. Okay, all of them are in pretty bad matchups, and they have a tendency to kind of not play as well when they do have bad matchups, okay? I think the strategy this week is going to be pay up for running back if you can, and then, fill in with the nice kind of value plays, or not, they're not value plays, but they're discounted plays at the receiver position. So we're going to start off with D.D. Westbrook. I already touched on this in the last video. Actually, all 4 of these I did, but we'll just recap it. D.D. Westbrook, going to be the slot receiver, going to be the number 1 receiver in that offense. And I do think Nick Foles is a vast improvement to Blake Bortles, especially with the routes that D.D. Westbrook runs. We saw him in his preseason week 3. He had 7 targets and, not even a full game. So I do think 7 targets is kind of going to be the norm for D.D. Westbrook. And, given this matchup, not too bad of a matchup. So I do like him, especially at that price point. I do think he could, he's at least going to see a $1,000 salary increase next week. So take advantage of this salary while we can. The next play is going to be Chris Godwin. And I do like Chris Godwin a lot on DraftKings and also FanDuel. Another play, while I'm thinking about it, that I'll bring up for FanDuel is going to be Kenny Galladay as well. Pretty easy matchup going against the Arizona Cardinals. So if you're playing on FanDuel, that's going to be a play that I really do like. But let's get back into Chris Godwin here. Going to be a really stackable play with Jameis Winston if you want to go with that route. But, this is a matchup that you should go out and dominate. The preseason hype has been trending upwards. Once again, it reminds me a lot of Juju Smith-Schuster last year, where the hype is just building around preseason. It kind of seems like that exact same scenario. I think Chris Godwin is going to be a beast this fantasy football season. This could be kind of the norm price for him, but I think in this matchup, I like him a lot. And then we got Adam Thielen here. So with the news of Stephon Diggs kind of being limited, that makes me really like Adam Thielen a lot more, especially in cash. So if you can fit him into your cash builds, I think that you should. It's a matchup that he should be able to, go out and at least get 10 DK points. And in cash, that's really what I'm hoping for or shooting for, projecting. Obviously, you want more, but the base that I want to get out of my players is 10 DK points, and obviously I do want them to have that upside to go for more. And I think that's exactly Adam Thielen this week. Then another value receiver play I think that we can go with is going to be Albert Wilson going against the Baltimore Ravens. Now, I do worry about the Ravens just running the ball into the ground this game, just running out the clock and winning the game that way by playing good defense and just running the ball with Mark Ingram. That would kind of lower Albert Wilson's upside, but I do think the Miami Dolphins are going to be playing from behind, and I also think he's currently their best receiver, going to be operating on the slot. He has Ryan Fitzpatrick throwing him the ball. I think he'll have at least 7 DK points. Obviously has a little bit of more upside to go for more than that. Really not a bad play at his price point this week. It should go up as well next week. All right, so getting into the tight ends here a little bit. We already touched on these plays quite a bit in the earlier video from last week, but let's touch on it a little bit more. So Dallas Goedert is a GPP play that I really do like, mostly because of his price point. I do think there's going to be 5 or so weeks where he just goes off and dominates, 15 plus DK points. This is a matchup where if he goes for, 15 plus DK points, that's going to surprise no one, okay? And he does make for a decent stack play with Carson Wentz. I already mentioned how much I like Carson Wentz, so that stack together makes a ton of sense for me. Obviously, I'm not going to go too crazy with it, maybe only around 15% ownership to Dallas Goedert. George Kittle is the tight end that you should probably target the most if you're paying up for one, just because the matchup's great. That should be a high-scoring, high-total game, and, obviously George Kittle, that puts him into a great spot. He should be playing the most. He should be kind of the most consistent pass catcher in that offense. So really don't mind that play. But I think I'd just rather pay down for Evan Ingram. We know that without OBJ, Evan Ingram has averaged over 14 DK points per game throughout his career. Obviously, I really do like that play. Maybe more of a cash play. If you want to take more of a GPP risk, you could go with Hunter Henry there. Hunter Henry is a guy that should have a decent week. I typically like to play the wait and see approach, especially with a guy coming back from injury in his first game back. I kind of want to see it before I play them, so I think I'd just rather go with Evan Ingram. But Hunter Henry is a play that if he does go off, not going to be surprising. Pretty easy matchup. Phillip Rivers does like to target the tight ends quite a bit. We've seen that throughout his career. And then also, there's just a ton of targets available in that offense. Without Melvin Gordon there, without Tyrell Williams, there's just a ton of targets available. And, I wouldn't be surprised if Hunter Henry gets around 6 targets in this game. All right, so lastly, we're going to touch on the defenses again. I already mentioned I really like the Cleveland Browns going against the Tennessee Titans, who just looked really bad throughout the preseason. Obviously, the Cleveland Browns look pretty impressive defensively throughout the preseason. So, that's a play that I really do like. There's a lot of correlation between playing Mark Ingram and playing Baltimore Ravens defense. Obviously, the Ravens defense is the most priced up defense. So, if you want to go a little bit lower, you could maybe go with the Seattle Seahawks, who are in a pretty decent position, especially now that they got Clowney. I do think that if you go down, you could pay the Miami Dolphins. Now, I don't love that play, but really when we're paying that low, you really just, that's bare minimum right there pretty much. So if you're paying that low, you really just want a defense that doesn't go negative. And I think that could be the Miami Dolphins going against the Baltimore Ravens, who should beat the Dolphins via the run game. And obviously, if they're running the ball a lot, that's going to mean the clock is running more. It's going to mean that the game is a little bit more low scoring. So I don't love that play, but if you really love the rest of your lineup and you're like, I need to find a defense that's not going to screw me, maybe that's going to be the Miami Dolphins. Not a bad risk if you want to go that low and not destroy the rest of your build. Alright, so if you guys enjoyed this video, please give me a like and subscribe. I appreciate it. And as always, let's keep cashing. Thanks.